Good morning, guys. Today is the 1st of July, and that means that we've got July, August, September, October. 3 months until the Silver Wolves class starts in North Georgia. And if you haven't signed up, down in the description box, I'll put that link into you. We've almost got the class filled up, but there is a couple of slots left. So if you're wanting to go to the Silver Wolves class in North Georgia, now's the time to sign up. We've got, I believe, 9 instructors now. It's going to be a full plate of classes, and it's going to be really, really good. And I hope to see you there. Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about a project. Now, most people have seen these type of stools, and I use these stools for 20-something years in living history. But there's a thing that happens to these stools over time, and I want to talk about how you can repair them and fix them. The way these stools are assembled is at this joint, the vertical coming up, they turn it down, they leave like a round dowel sticking up. And then the top part here, they drill a hole. And those two are pressed together in the factory under pressure. And then they put a staple through right there, and that staple is about like a sewing needle in thickness. It just folded over like that, like if you took a paper clip and took it apart and folded it in half and shoved it under great pressure in there, and that's all that's holding it. Friction and that little bitty needle. Friction and that little bitty needle is all that's holding that. Well, over time, and you sitting on it, etc., because it is friction, over time, that stool gets to be where it's like this. And that stool had gotten horrible, where you had to sit on it, actively try to balance on it, because it was gone. So, I decided to take it apart and fix it. Now, if you have a stool like this and it's got wobbly, here's how to do it. What I did was I turned it upside down like this and get me a glove on, because there may be splinters on the wood, because this is usually oak and it can get a little bit grainy over time. So I recommend getting something to pad your hand or whatever to hold it up there. I took a ball peen hammer and went whack real fast and just knocked everything off. Same thing on these uprights right here. All that is a round end going into a hole on either end. So a quick whack, whack, and that came off, and I had it all completely apart. This rivet right here, don't take it apart. If it's loose, you may not want to even do this. But mine was good and tight there. It was just all these connections had come loose. Now once you've done that, when you look in the hole that is in all the pieces, you're going to see the hole, and there's a little, like another hole right in the middle of it. That's because the drill bit they use at the factory's got kind of like a extra sharp point to guide it, to keep from dancing when it touches the wood. Use that as your guide. So I took a small drill bit, how small, holding up the screw that I'm going to use, and these are 3-inch screws, okay? I took a drill bit that was just about half the size of that. I don't want it any bigger than that, because I want plenty of grip when I put those screws in there. And at the same time, any less than that, I might split the wood. So that's the reason I went with that drill bit that's half the size of the screw, okay? Looking into that hole down there, I centered it up and I drilled through. Now take this piece and clamp it down onto something, or push real hard down onto something. That way when that drill bit comes through, it doesn't split the wood off on this side as it pokes through, okay? So what I did is I just put it up on my workbench, put a C-clamp right there, and put me a piece of scrap plywood underneath it. Clamping those down together, I drilled all the way through, and I did all of them, just like that. Clamping this down, drill straight through. Now, the actual peg sticking up, once I had drilled through, then I set it up there like this, and I put the peg back up into the hole. Remember that needle I talked about, that staple that's in there? I was able to, with it knocking it out, it bent them out. They came out of the wood. And I was able to grab them with a pair of pliers and just simply pull them on out, or clip them off short with a pair of cutters up in there, so it wouldn't interfere with me putting it back together. Okay. Now, I clamped these two together, and that hole I've already drilled in this side, I just drill straight down in it, and that acts as a perfect guide for me to go this way. So now once I've got all the holes drilled, then I took wood glue, and I gobbed up wood glue inside the hole and there, because remember, it's friction fit when it's originally made, so that peg fits really snug into that hole. But over time, and the hole gets a little, or this gets a little wallered out, and there's slack, and that's the reason that thing gets to where it can just woggle like crazy. By adding the wood glue, I'm going to fill in all those voids. So I put a good amount of wood glue, both on the peg and down in the hole, and I squeezed them together. And then I took a 3-inch screw, put a little bit of wood glue on it to lubricate it and to help it lock in. I took my cordless drill with a screwdriver bit, went and ran them down tight. That's the reason you see right there. Now notice I put them flush. Something I forgot to mention. After I had drilled the little hole, I took a little bit bigger drill bit, one that was big enough for the head to sit down in, and countersunk. That means I just drilled it in just a little bitty bit, like less than 1/8 of an inch, so that that head would go down flush. Didn't want it left sticking up, see? And because of that, I put one of them screws there, 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 and then on the top on both sides, like that. That's made this stool back to rock solid again. After you screw it together, with the wood glue, let it dry overnight. After that, or at least a few hours. After that, you're back to rock solid. Now when you look, just because of the way this one was made, you look up in that slot, you can still see that round peg a little bit right up in there. This is fully secured now. So if you have one of these old stools, and these camp stools have been used 1,001 ways in camping. I have seen guys take this and turn it into like a frame before for their haversack, where it would come around and hook to this, and then this went onto your back as a frame. Not exactly comfortable, but it was a way they could carry it with them for campouts and stuff like that, so they can get there and utilize it. It's light, it fits on the shoulder fairly easy, it's fairly rugged and reliable. And so it may be an option for you whenever you're going to go camping and you don't want to carry an actual bag chair, but I want something to sit on. One of these little stools may be a way to go. Now today they got those take apart little chairs you see in the backpacking shops that I call them butt buckets. Maybe you can get up and down out of them, but a lot of us old silver wolves don't do that easy anymore. And sitting flat on something like this is about as good as it's going to get. If you find one of these at a garage sale and it's got that woggy, it can be repaired, like I said. Simply take a hammer, knock it apart, drill your pilot holes, drill a bigger hole for a countersink, add wood glue, screw it all back together, and you got a rock solid piece of camp gear again. Well, thank you for watching today. I just wanted to share that with you. That old camp stool goes back over 25 years for me. When we were doing rendezvousing, we had chairs and stools, and every camp had these. And as in some of my earlier videos I've showed you, I've made up tops that will sit on top of this, turn them into small tables. And so they're, to me, when I'm doing a week-long camp out, it's a great piece of camp gear to have. But like all of us, the old joints get a little wore out. Sometimes you just gotta take it apart and put it back together right. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And there'll be more videos coming up soon. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.